Welcome to the new middle school math curriculum brought to you by CPM Core Connections. CPM Core Connections is broken down into 3 courses: Course 1 for 6th grade, Course 2 for 7th grade, and Course 3 for 8th grade. CPM was chosen after a group of teachers, administrators, and parents got together and evaluated 7 different math programs. Through a process of elimination and over several months, it was determined that CPM was the best choice to meet the rigorous goals that are in place for WestAda students. We also felt that it would aid in the transition to high school math. CPM's approach is based on math learning on 3 guiding principles: cooperative learning, problem-based learning, and mixed-spaced practice. Cooperative learning includes students learning ideas more deeply when they discuss their ideas with classmates. This is the teamwork approach that you'll see later in the videos. Problem-based learning is students learn ideas more usefully when they learn by attacking problems, ideally from the real world, as opposed to just working on worksheets that are focused on process-related problems. In addition to that, the CPM curriculum provides mixed-spaced practice. Students learn ideas more permanently when they were required to engage and re-engage with the ideas for months and even years. Each student has been provided with a textbook and will soon have electronic access to this textbook at home. One of the key advantages of CPM is parents are able to help their students. This is something that has gone away in years past. There's a homework help for CPM. It's free and can be located at homework.cpm.org. No account is required. This feature allows you to view all of the homework problems and selected hints, answers, and electronic tools for individual homework problems. You can find detailed directions on how to access your students' homework help on our middle school math help website at www.westada.org/page/46788. In addition to this, there was a parent guide sent home during the first 2 weeks of school that contains extra practice and information. Let's suppose you have an 8th grade student and they are working on their review and preview homework problems for lesson 1.2.1. They come across a problem 1-48 that asks them to make a box plot and can't remember how to make a box plot. You as a parent and or your student can use the parent guide with extra practice to help. Flip to the table of contents and look for the topic of box plots. At that time, you can flip to the page containing the information. You will find an explanation of the concept, worked out examples of the problems that address that concept, as well as extra practice problems that address the problem with answers. The parent guide also has extra practice problems that can be used to solidify understanding at home. In the event that the parent guide is lost, an electronic copy can be downloaded from the website given earlier. When your student reaches checkpoint problems in the review and preview homework problems, this means that the problem focuses on a skill that a student should have mastered or should be close to mastering. Most chapters have 1 or more topics identified as a checkpoint skill, and they are marked in the book with a checkmark icon. The answer to each checkpoint problem can be found at the back of the textbook, along with more examples and more practice problems focused on that checkpoint skill. There are even more answers provided for the extra practice problems. You and your student can check the answers they found. Here is an example of a checkpoint problem with worked examples and additional solutions. In addition to this, there are checkpoint problem answers for all of the checkpoint problems. To view a complete list of all the checkpoint problems your student will complete this year, visit our Middle School Math Help website and click on the linked document for your student's grade level textbook. Math discussions at home are another great way to help your student. Ask them about their math class and see how it's going. For suggested questions and conversation starters, please refer to the WestAda help site indicated earlier. We've included important web resources and their addresses for your reference. Now let's see CPM in action. We're going to look at problem 1-43. But to give you a preview to do it, and I'll have the roles. So I'm going to real fast just to show you what we're doing. How many pennies we got there? Done. Okay? Kind of hard, right? Okay, now I'm going to make one subtle change. How many pennies are there? So you got some different answers. Okay, so how many are here? How many are here? How many are here? 3. Okay, I wonder if I changed it to this, if it would have been easier for you.
Yeah.
Does that make it easier for you? I tied the 5 and the 2 in off of what a dice looks like. The die looks like, right? Why was that easier? Why is this so much easier than the first picture? Because it's organized, right? Okay, so this activity is called a handful of pennies. How can you figure out how many objects are in a pile without counting each one? Are there some ways objects can be arranged so that it's easy to see how many there are? I've given you the pennies. I want you to work together as a team. Facilitators, task managers, everyone's involved. I want you to talk about a good way to organize these. How come not everyone's counting? If you come up with a plan, everyone's doing it. Get up, get over to the table. So what are you guys going with? You have to use all the pennies. Sometimes data create problems. You've got 2 minutes. That's all right. I like what I see. Don't touch the pennies, just look at them, figure out what you've got. So what do you guys see? Now, basically going around, did any of you find some rotations that you thought were really good? Some organizations, okay? Everyone should have their hand up because there's some really good ones out there. Did anyone find some that were harder than others? Okay. So excellent job. Here is what your next task is. Taking into account what you've just seen, you're going to talk. We just did the gallery walk, so we've already taken care of 2 problems already today. You're going to do 143. How could you make your arrangement even clearer? Work with your team to rearrange the pennies to improve how well others can understand the quantity. Use what you noticed in the gallery walk. Here's where it comes in important. Oh, keep listening. I know we're already starting. On your own paper, draw a diagram that represents your new arrangement of pennies without drawing all of them themselves. Compare their diagram to those made by your teammates. What I would be doing, and you'll be doing this on 143, if I was doing 143, I would look at a way I could draw this without doing it. Well, I went with a group of 10. You don't have to write this down because you're going to do it for your own. I went with a group of 10. And I went with a group of probably about half the size of the 10, a group of 5. Is that a way of showing it as a diagram without writing everything?
Yeah. I wrote down the little cheater ways in which you could do that. So check your answers, but also check my little hints about, like, oh, that'd be great, because then I wouldn't have to do all that math every time. Did you remember? Yes. It's kind of like what we did before with the newspapers, except for now we're doing decimals. Yay! So we're just going to divide it by how many pieces we have. If you did this in a ratio table, that's also a totally great way to do it. I know you feel worried about ratio tables, do it that way. In 94, this was just a whole bunch of finding common denominators, right? And we haven't talked about it yet in the book, but we're going to soon. So this is like the preview part. But we're going to be talking about the big one. So when you see,
You get over 1,000. Percent's always out of 100, right? We talked about that. So you can have 120%. Like some people got the bonus questions right on the quiz, so they had 107, 109%. Did anybody raise your hand if you wrote probability of a nickel? You wrote your event out like this. Did anybody do that? Nice job, dude. I'm impressed.
next section. So part A, B, and C, you're going to do as a team. Reporters, make sure that everybody in your group has the same kind of thing written on their paper. Task managers, I'm going to give you, what are we thinking? I think 3 minutes. And then we'll check in with you, right? Facilitators, get your group going.
Okay. How many sets of 25?
How many sets of 25? How many sets of squares? How many sets of shaded squares will she need? How many shaded squares is that total? It'd be 40, right? Because there's 10 rows times 4.
And we have 4.
Also,
Yeah.
it says how many sets of shaded squares will she need?
Okay, Lila drew the picture below. She wrote an equation.
Lily drew the picture below and she wrote the equation on the right to represent
25 times 3.
I think that's what it
and
says.
they multiply the numbers out and it's 5 and then
Right, are you on here?
Lila multiplies the number of shaded squares by 4. Lila multiplies the number of shaded squares.
And the number of total squares by 4 is 25 times
So 1
So how would you show our
A would be 1.
It's not 4, it's 4. No, because look, it's 10, 20.
4 sets
And 28.
How many sets of shaded squares will she need? How many shaded squares is that? That's what it's. That's why it just be 4. They said 10, 20.
One more minute, we're going to check 195.
Just say what we do.
B was worded a little weird, but I felt like you guys were still getting what they're going for there, which was that then you had the 40 shaded spots. And when we do 4 sets of 10, the all together that makes the 40. This bottom one, I want you to be able to represent what's going on in more than one way. And that's what she's doing here. So if you feel good about this as an equation with the proportions equaling each other, that's awesome. But it would be even better if you can show this in 2 different ways. That if I asked you to show this with a picture, that you could do it, or if I asked you to show it with an equation, you could do it that way. So can somebody explain to me what's happening in this picture?
Showing the first picture being copied into 4 to make 100
Absolutely. And this little part, what's that?
times 4.
It's saying I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to times it by 4. And then instead of an equal sign, she's using the little arrow. And that's fine. You could have used equal sign here if you want to. You're saying, okay, if I take this and times it by 4, this is what it looks like. And that's another way of representing that I'm taking this fraction. I showed it in a picture. Here I wrote it down. And I'm timesing it by 4, and this is what
What does she need? Like, what is she talking about? What does she want?
Because it has 10 shaded squares each square.
I don't know what she wanted.
So I think CPM's a really great program. What we do basically is during class, that's when we're teaching the new concepts, the stuff they haven't seen before. And we get to do that in teams so that they're not just listening to me stand in the front of the room and talk all day. That's boring. They're working together so that they get to share their ideas and ask questions of each other, and that promotes a deeper understanding of the concepts that we didn't get before we had CPM. This is really promoting a deeper understanding. And then with the homework, it's not even called homework, it's review and preview. So what it is they're reviewing things they've already known, and it's cyclical. They review it all year. So right now in chapter 1, it's a little bit of a struggle because they're reviewing stuff they learned last year and they don't have that retention yet. So right now it's a bit of a struggle with them trying to get through that review because they should have learned those concepts but maybe can't quite remember. But as we get into chapter 2, they're going to keep reviewing those, plus they'll add in chapter 1. By the time we get to chapter 9, then they're going to have chapter 1, 2, 3, all the way through it that they've practiced over and over again throughout the year. And that repeated practice is going to help them remember these concepts for the rest of their lives. It's not just the learn it for the test and then forget it like we've had in the past. So I think that's another great part of CPM is that it gets that deeper understanding and it helps with the retention so that this is lifelong learning of math, not just learn it for the year.
Okay, one of the things that I'm excited about with CPM is middle school is a huge transition, and for 6th graders in math, I can never get them to talk. And CPM is based upon group problem solving and going through. It has real world problems. It spirals, so we're continually going through the material. So it is a huge transition, but I'm excited about the results that CPM is going to offer our 6th grade students. And I think we're going to see it pay off in the long run. Additional teacher testimonials. I like the fact that there's not one or a right way to set up and solve the problem. The curriculum allows the students to solve in a way that makes sense to them. Mr. Rollins. In the past, a teacher like myself would tell students how to build a bridge, a tower, and a house with Legos. I would show them how many blue, red, yellow pieces they would need for each and how to connect them. I could teach them how the blue ones are great for strength and the yellow ones can cover great distances. They would have all of this wonderful information in their notes. With the CPM approach to instruction, I now dump a bucket of Legos in front of them and say, build a bridge from point A to point B. Go. It's up to them to discover which pieces function best in certain situations. They work hands-on, collaboratively, sharing ideas, creating several different ways of building a bridge. We no longer get to build the tower or house in the first day, but the concepts they discovered on their own will transfer well. Concerning the amount of material, we get through less, but we get through it better. And when the day-to-day dust settles, the knowledge doesn't just stay in their notes. Mr. Orius. Student testimonials. I like working in groups because we get to help each other when we are stuck. Carson. The books help me when I need more information. Mariana. I have more confidence checking my answers and talking in my group. Brooklyn. Class seems to fly by. Kyle. I like the pictures and the explanations. Tess. I like having my own book. Maddie. I like that I can look back at past problems. Miley. I'd like more instruction from my teacher, but I do like the group activities. Cade. Thank you for taking the time to review WestAda School District's new middle school math curriculum brought to you by CPM.